Midjourney version 8 is live. And yeah, it kind of feels like there's a hidden cheat code baked into the whole thing. Use it right and you get seriously impressive results. Mess it up, and it quickly turns into something pretty average. So in this video, I'm breaking down that exact gap. The difference between wow, that's insane, and yeah, not so much. The clip you're seeing here shows the massive jump from Midjourney V1 all the way to version 8. And it makes one thing pretty clear. The current model can absolutely deliver the most photorealistic results. You just need to know how to get there. Midjourney took its time with version 8, still in alpha, and I went straight into the release notes. Better prompt accuracy, stronger style control with sref codes, mood boards and personalization, higher image quality, improved text rendering, and up to 5 times faster generation. Sounds good on paper. But now let's get into the real stuff. Actual tests. Side by side. Midjourney V8, V7, Nano Banana Pro, Nano Banana 2, Seedream 5.0 Lite and Kling Image 3.0 Omni. One important thing, Midjourney currently caps your prompt at 1,300 characters, so you really have to be precise. Fewer words, sharper intent, no room for fluff. Scene 1 kicks off with a clean studio portrait of a 25-year-old woman with white hair. What really stands out here are the colour accents and that super minimal, high-end studio vibe. Quick orientation. On the left, you always see Midjourney, version 7 at the bottom, version 8 on top with the green frame. Nano Banana sits in the middle, Seedream top right, Kling bottom right. And honestly, you don't need me to over-explain this. You can clearly see who's in control and who's just guessing. Everything's in here. From rubber doll vibes to clownish looks to stiff results all the way up to actually convincing outputs. You know me, I like to push these models a bit. So scene 2 does exactly that. A heavily armoured vehicle in bright pink, bold lettering tank for the masses, blasting through mud, while a bear with a Team Pink Go sign just stands there completely confused. Nano Banana Pro nails that emotional beat best. But when it comes to placing a helicopter realistically into a tight forest road surrounded by tall trees, that's where things get tricky. And here, Midjourney version 8 actually delivers the strongest result. Scene 3 jumps back a few decades. I recently watched a documentary about major global conflicts, including the Soviet invasion of Afghanistan, and that one line stuck with me. You have the watches, we have the time. So I built a prompt around exactly that idea. One side pushing hard, trying to achieve goals fast, the other just waiting, knowing time is on their side. Overall, really interesting results across the board. Kling, though, kind of stands out in a different way. Everything feels a bit staged, a bit plastic. Scene 4 is just fun to look at. Here it's all about mixing materials and layering in different languages and custom characters. The AI has to think in multiple steps. How do you combine flowing milk and translucent water, semi-liquid surfaces, with a pile of dark grey ash and that soft smoky texture? Nano Banana clearly takes the lead here. Midjourney version 8 turns milk and water into something closer to cream, and when it comes to text, it doesn't fully get there either. Now scene 5 is where things get really interesting. I only gave the models a date and a location, plus a simple instruction. Show exactly what happened on that day at that place, shot like a professional documentary photo. And this is where you see how different these systems think. Midjourney reads August 24th, 79 AD in Pompeii, and basically creates a generic scene, no real connection to the actual event. Google, Kling, and ByteDance clearly have that historical context in their training. They know that's the day Vesuvius erupted and Pompeii was destroyed. Scene 6 goes straight into macro territory, ultra-detailed close-up of a high-tech circuit board with very specific lighting and clean text on the chip. You can see Midjourney V8 improved a bit. It's not as smeared as before. But compared to Nano Banana and Seedream, it's still not really usable. This kind of task needs absolute precision, and Kling is struggling just as much here. Looking back, Scene 7 is probably one of the toughest. No pretty faces, no easy wins. This is full-on context understanding. A historical map of North America during the American Civil War in 1861. Correct borders, north versus south, plus troop strength visualized with small figures. Short version, Midjourney fails Seedream 2. Kling is Honestly, hard to take seriously. Nano Banana does a much better job. You still see errors here and there, even in spelling. Hands are still a pain. I keep seeing issues in real projects, especially when they get smaller in the frame. So Scene 8 combines a hand with a peacock feather, with focus on those fine iridescent feather details. Interestingly, Midjourney V7 actually beats V8 here. Seedream and Kling are okay, but Nano Banana Pro and Nano Banana 2 clearly understand what's going on. Scene 9 flips reality. Water becomes fire, fire becomes water. The idea is water burning like flames while actual fire cooks inside a pot. Kling and Midjourney V7 can't really follow that logic. Nano Banana 2 takes the win here, mainly because it also integrates the background properly into the scene. Nano Banana Pro and Seedream still deliver visually interesting results though. Scene 10 is about reasoning. Can the model connect teacher and classroom and figure out that there should be chalk writing on a chalkboard and actually render it correctly? Midjourney, both versions, just focuses on the person and kind of dodges the board problem. Nano Banana and Seedream are strong here. Kling. Honestly, no idea what's going on. The outfit raises more questions than answers, and that chalkboard text makes even less sense. At least the smile works. And finally, a complex diagram explaining the solar constant of the sun. This is where you see the biggest jump from Midjourney V7 to V8. Still, both results are not really usable. Same for Kling. Once again, Nano Banana feels right at home here and delivers what it actually understands. Seedream is close, but visually a bit more messy. Before we jump into a few tricks for Midjourney version 8, let's quickly zoom out and look at the overall picture. Across all these tests, there were definitely some strong results here and there. That's what this summary chart is based on. But at the same time, it's pretty clear who's really running the show right now. Midjourney V8 is good, no doubt. But in this lineup, it's just not leading the pack. Kling Image 3.0 sits more in the middle. Nothing terrible. Nothing that really stands out. And then there's Nano Banana, once again on top. And this is where it gets interesting. Because if you realise that the Nano Banana series is currently free to use, you kind of have to ask yourself one simple question: paying for weaker results. Does that really make sense? But hey, Midjourney fans, and yeah, I'm one of them too, don't panic. The real strength of this platform sits somewhere else. Sure, you can get great images, but where Midjourney really shines is style transfer and controlling the look of your output. That part is insanely smooth. Let me show you what I mean using this solar constant example. Every single image you see here is based on the exact same prompt. Nothing changed there. The only thing I swapped out was the reference on the right. Sometimes it's a 20 grid image, sometimes a simple sref code, sometimes multiple ones stacked together. And that alone completely shifts the result. You don't have to describe the style every single time. Midjourney just gets it. Their style system is basically a massive library that covers almost anything you can think of, and you don't even need those codes. A single image, a photo, a sketch, that's already enough. Even more complex workflows just work without friction. And honestly, playing around with this is just fun. This was the starting point, a simple alien in a spaceship. Then you mix it with different references, and suddenly you get all these variations. No need to overthink it. No need to be a genius. What really stands out to me are things like prints, masks, or combining multiple inputs into something new. This is where Midjourney is seriously impressive. Alright, let's talk about the trick for Midjourney version 8. If there's one thing you need to remember, it's this word, stylize. By default, it sits at 100, but that's just the starting point. Quick setup. Go to the top right, hit Settings, jump into the Aesthetics tab, and there you'll find Stylization. You can push that slider all the way from 0 up to 1000. Important thing here, whatever you set globally will stick for every image until you change it again. Or you just leave it at 100 and control it per prompt by adding your value at the end. And then there's RAW. Super important. Midjourney basically says if you want a more photo-like controlled result, switch to --RAW right away. And yeah, that checks out. Now back to the examples, because this is where it really clicks. At Stylize 0, the model plays it super safe. Almost no interpretation, and you start seeing issues, especially with hands and faces. The train example just looks like some random 3D snow scene, not really believable. Bump it to Stylize 500 and add Raw, and suddenly things start to feel more grounded, more realistic. But the real jump happens at Stylize 1000 with Raw. That's where you get that final polish, the kind of look you'd expect from a proper photo. Same pattern here. Stylize 0 gives you visible errors, which is honestly not great for a modern model. At 500, it improves a lot. And at 1000, you start getting those extra details: backlight, hair, shadows, all the stuff that adds depth and realism. So yeah, don't give up too early if the first result looks off. Tweak Stylize, use Raw, maybe HD on top. That's where Midjourney starts to open up. If you've used Midjourney for a while, you've probably run into the seed feature. The idea is simple. You assign a code to an image, and then reuse that same seed to get almost identical results again. I tried this with a basic prompt: a yellow washing machine in a white kitchen. That gives you your base image. Now keep everything the same prompt, same seed. Just swap yellow for red. You get a red version. Do the same for blue, black, golden. At first glance, they all look very similar, but once you look closer, a lot of small details still change. And that's the point where you start asking yourself, what do I actually need this for? Because there's a much cleaner way to do this. Take the same base image and move it into Nano Banana Pro or Nano Banana 2. Then just use a simple instruction like change the color of the washing machine to red, or blue, or black, or golden. And now only the washing machine changes. Everything else stays exactly the same. So this is where it makes sense to think across platforms. Generate your base image in Midjourney, then do precise edits in Nano Banana. I'm not going into all the other features of Midjourney version 8 just yet. To be honest, I expected a bigger shift in the interface. But right now it still feels pretty familiar. My guess is they'll roll things out step by step. So it probably makes more sense to take another look once everything's fully in place. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you very much for listening. See you soon. Your channel, AI Now You Know.